Right. So we've all asked this kind of question, hey, what's the purpose of education? What do we want children to go through or we to go through as a family? And as I said, it comes in different wordings. For us, when we started asking this question, so the answer that came to us was, hey, the purpose of education is to live. That's the answer we could figure out. And if the purpose of education is to live, then living, learning, education all becomes synonymous. As in they're just part of the same deal, which is living. Right? Which is why we call Aarohi as Aarohi life education. It's not about something else that we are trying. We are anyway going to learn whole of our life, live whole of our life, and yeah, educate ourselves whole of our life. And typically that means that I am the leader of myself. Now, what does that translate into? So I will run through the slides very quickly. Just keep a half an eye on it so that I keep switching the slides. I've really little rearranged the slides today. So the first thought that comes, hey, we don't need to, put curriculum around the child. Let the child decide what the child wants to learn, how the child wants to learn. Literally the whole world, everything is equal, everything is worth learning, everything is so beautiful. So we call it the world of learning. Everything is amazing. Um, Not that one thing is better than the other. The second thing is we don't need to teach the child. A child can figure out how to learn. Nowadays, YouTube, guides, mentors are available everywhere. So if the child needs and wants and comes to me and says, teach me this, then I can think about it. Otherwise, it's pretty cool. Children are much, much, much smarter in terms of resources and even connecting to people to get what they want. Which means that the learning is not just limited, it keeps on expanding as you see that the whole world is yours, right from self to family to relatives to neighborhood, locality, city, world, everything. I mean, today I can learn anything from somebody sitting in New Zealand. It doesn't take anything to do that. So that's the beauty of today's world, at least. So we keep telling children, hey, you are the center of the universe. Go ahead, now see what you want to take out of it. The third obvious thing is, why do we need to assess anybody, including myself? I mean, yes, we reflect on a daily basis, weekly basis, at any frequency. We take feedbacks from different people, but that's pretty much it. That's what we need for life. Why do we need certain marks to show, and then the person higher than the higher marks is higher than me? Not at all required. Uh, which means we also get feedback from anybody and everybody. It can be anybody, and we can learn from anybody and everybody. And we are all just very different, and that's the beauty of the world, that we have so many other people around of all kinds. So that becomes our beautiful learning journey. And the fourth proposition is that given all of this, we don't really need to stick to school, college degrees as the only way to learn. The children can figure out their paths uh, depending on what they want to do. Yeah. So not that school, college degrees, anything wrong with them. They're perfectly fine if somebody likes it, if somebody needs it. If somebody doesn't like it and need it, then the rest of the world is an option available. Right. So what open learning essentially means is that we give the responsibility to the learner and let the learner decide how much, how well, where, in what form I want to learn, and then take it forward. Um, so typically we say that there are four kinds of stuff that we all do. We all like exposures. So especially younger children live out of exposures. Then as they grow a little older, they like exploration. So we also like to explore different things that interests us. I'm sure in this group there will be different interests or different explorations. Then out of those interests, we may like to get expertise into one or few of them, deeper, go real deep dive into it, build muscle in it. And once we get that expertise, we can turn it into a way to earn money. That is the enterprise part. So money is not a complicated thing. You just have to get expertise in it, in any field that you like doing, and then the money comes. Yes, you might have to still figure out how do you want to earn it, whether through a job, through an entrepreneurship, through freelancing, or whatever other names people give. But I think once expertise is there, it's not so difficult. And then there are people to guide. Yeah, which is where we have I'll talk about CoVersity in just a little while. So we say, what is Aarohi? Aarohi is a community of families. So children don't join Aarohi. families join Aarohi. That's very, very important, because the family is deciding to do open learning, and then the family becomes one community by itself, or a campus by itself. The home becomes one campus. The family becomes the first community the child gets. And then it keeps on extending as we all families come together and do different things together, support, collaborate, and so on. Literally live, as in not physically, but as a relationship, we all kind of living together, though it could be in different cities and countries. Little I want to touch upon the youth part, where there are different challenges that they are facing, especially the teenagers, to perform, to decide very early what could be your profession. Decide art, crafts, art, commerce, science, or whatever. It's too early. A lot of comparison, and all of their self, emotion, relationship change which they are going through as part of their growing up. Uh, some of us also disconnect with the conventional system. We don't know what to pursue, or we are too attracted to something else to really bother about the conventional system. We don't like the competitive or the judgment kind of way. Again, it's up to each individual. Conventional system as such is fine for somebody who likes it and thrives in it. I want to also spend 5 points on what's the trend in the world today. One is that the ways to build knowledge, up skills is abundant, right from abundant YouTube videos to abundant everything else, and abundant people. There's also a huge explosion of professional choices. One can literally do anything and convert that into professions. If I know how to tame dragons, I can possibly start an academy of it, even though there are no dragons to tame. um, we also say that the beautiful part is that the industry is very open in today's world. They don't see age. They see, if this guy has energy, this guy likes doing this work and is deep into it. Wow, So that's been our experience with our youth, doing internships in different organizations and enjoying the industry, also enjoying them, and they also enjoying it, which is where we see the industry is also very open to be guiding and mentor these youth. So it doesn't need to be us doing all the job. In fact, we need to hardly do any job. They will find their own mentors, guides through not just people, but books and resources and websites and portals and stuff like that. And the last is, yes, youths are pretty ready to reclaim their own journey. So these are some of the trends, and based on that, we see that they are interested. They're interested in exploring different domains to reach where they want to reach. They are excited to do meaningful work, which is the industry work. They are also excited to connect with experts and mentors uh, rather than limited in terms of choices. The kind of people they like to connect with. They also like working together. So that's the CoVersity co part, the coming together. And finally, they are ready to be work certified. They want to show off their work and say, based on this, you give me more work or job or whatever they are looking for, right? So that's the CoVersity part. We have purposefully, given it a separate name than open learning, just to make it look like a more serious, endeavor. Though I don't believe in that. To me, it's just very organic. I've seen my own children and many other children do it, but I think the world needed another word, so we gave it another word, a more serious, professional sounding word. Uh, so there we are. CoVersity is an extension of open learning for the older age group who want to do their professional or passion journey. And that is for people who would who have interest in a specific field, like Shreya is into designing, or somebody who's not too enthusiastic about exams but likes to explore, like Hari, who likes bikes and cars too much. He does not like studies at all. And or it could be for people who just want to explore different domains, like Aparna is right now exploring mud construction at 14 years age, very unconventional. uh, she's actually here smiling. And and basically it's for any teen who want to lead their education, their life. They could be from village, they could be from city, it just doesn't matter. Anybody can take this up, right? So that's a quick introduction. Actually, I don't need this slide. um, we're trying to reach out to more and more youth to tell them this is one beautiful option. And we are also trying to reach out to more people who want to start these kind of co-versities, not necessarily with that dream in any part of the country. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. at the end, I just want to conclude by saying that the whole idea of open learning is about building strength within oneself. Any kind of strength, and building oneself strong so that whatever I want to do in whichever time, whether I'm 3 years old or 23 years old or 53 years old, I can just go ahead and do it. That's it. So I build myself stronger from inside out rather than worrying about what the world thinks. So that's the whole idea. So it's about developing self. So it can also be, if you don't want to call it open learning, it can be called it self-learning, just that we don't call it because it looks like I have to teach myself everything. But that's not the case. We can learn from the whole world. Yeah, let me stop sharing. Thank you for bearing me out for, I think, more than 7 minutes. I said 5, 7 minutes, and I always take more time. Okay, cool. So, yeah, we can, it's a very informal meetup. Anybody can ask any question, share any anecdote, thought, experience, whatever you want to share, whatever you want to talk about, discuss, it's pretty much open. Yeah, if more people want to come on video just to have a little more, as if we are sitting in a room, most welcome. Yeah. If you're not able to on your video, that's also okay.
The fact that the bird's sitting on the tree because of the awareness about the strength in their own wings, what's the role of the people around them to kind of, let them have that kind of a behavior? Sometimes it's a choice that, and I think us as parents and as communities tend to handhold a lot sometimes, maybe more than essential, that they don't really realize that it's their wings.
Yeah.
They, it's actually the wings, maybe our wings, that they're confident about. So I just wanted to know, like, what's our role in creating that wings that are their own and not things that are like lent or, offered while it's there. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Who would like to answer that? Rishma, you want to start? What do you think?
Yeah, just wanted to add just 1 second, Reshma. When Ratnesh says it's open for anybody to ask questions, it's also open for everybody to answer questions.
Absolutely.
Too.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes,
so
yes,
please
yes.
feel free to share your
We are
thoughts
all
because
open
we have
learners. Yeah, go ahead, Rishma.
Yeah. So what I've realized from my little experience of what we are doing right now is it's important to understand the need of the child or that moment. So there will be times where the child will come to you for guidance. So I think, and if you don't know, you figure out together. If you know, then you work through it. And if the child, so in my case, I had to work on myself more because I realized that I wanted things to be perfect. I had less tolerance towards my mistakes. So that those things were coming in the way, which I realized gradually. And my daughter is someone who wants to figure out things by herself. So even if she's doing something wrong, and if I want to pitch my idea, she would just reject it. That no, let me figure out my way. So, and there are times when she would come to me that, okay, I tried 2 3 options but I'm not able to figure out, can you help? So I think more and more I'm talking to different people, reading more. I realize that our role is to get out of their way and be in background. That just observe and be with the child, and they have the ability to uh, figure things out. Thank you.
Yeah. And like, if both the parents are working, how do you kind of deal with the observation part? Or, like, how do you enable this whole learning journey? I mean, is that a possibility, or do we really need to go out of the way? Or is it unique need for unique children?
I think with us, since last 7 years I am a stay-at-home mother, but I have come across many examples, many combinations like a single parent and two children, and two parents working and children doing unschooling. So yes, uh, there are various permutation combination to for this to work. It's more about um, staying open and maybe explore.
Okay, got that.
Yeah. Um, Risha, I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts on this. And it's useful to go back to the analogy that you picked up on from the presentation, right? So, how does the young bird develop confidence in its wings? Does the
By
mother bird carry the young bird somewhere and make it fly,
no, absolutely not.
right? Does it, go and flap its wings in front of it and say, this is how you do it? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't,
Maybe it does, yeah.
right? But one thing is for sure, the young bird is always watching the skies for when its mother is coming back with food, right? And very likely it's seeing how the mother bird is flying, right? So that's what we talk about, and that's why, I mean, this is one of my, what do you say, my chap on the small narratives or discussions, that figure out your learning journey. Do the flying bird, mother bird thing in front of your birds, right? When we engage in our own learning journeys, when we reflect on how we are doing and what we are doing, and make it such that they can see the journey, right? That's all we need to do. That's all we need to do. Because these kids are way smarter than we are. I mean, I don't have to meet the kid. I can tell you the next generation is way smarter than we are. I mean, no offense to all of you, but so let's not feel that we have, or do we really think that we have an answer to what the future is going to be like? So, I mean, just want to stop the rambling, but basically, you do the flying in front of them, let them see what learning is, let them live life, and they are bound to learn. They are just bound to learn. We have to learn how to do our own learnings.
Yeah, got that.
Yeah, and also Risha, just to bring in the thought on the working part as a working parent. So one is we look at let's say let's say two of us have, let's say, one child. Just as an example, then I say that there are three people who are working. Yeah, wherever you are working, you're working in an office, you're working at home, you're working wherever you are working, but each one of us is working. Now, can we be colleagues to each other? Can we be co-passengers to each other? Can we all share, hey, how am I going to, let's say, do my day today or week today or week this week or whichever time span you want to discuss? Each one sharing, this is my day ahead or this is my week ahead. What all am I doing? How am I doing? How will it work out? What am I expecting? What am I wanting to achieve? What are the challenges I am seeing? Imagine half an hour such discussion where first I am sharing, then my wife is sharing, then my child is sharing, or any order. And then we meet again, let's say by the end of the day or end of the week or middle of the week and say, hey, how's it going? And each one is sharing their journey. So there are three working people. Now let's rub these ages out. There's this distinction between child and adult and professional and earner and non-earner and all of that. Let's rub it out. All of us are learners and doers. That's all. Livers, living our life. And that's all. So this whole beautiful journey of kind of understanding each other, contributing, collaborating, we call it co-creation. So if you want my one answer, what's the role? No role, but it's a whole chemistry of co-creation between all the members. So at your home, if you're 3, 4, 5, how many ever members, that many members co-creating, or 2 members, whichever number. Let's say if you're with the community and there are 20 of us, then 20 of us are co-creating. So that's how the whole thing goes. So whichever number is there, it's a co-creation. And co-creation involves a lot of supporting, a lot of challenging, pushing, pulling, kicking, fighting, all kinds of things, throwing in different opinions, because I may look at things in one way, another person has to look, another person will look at, and I'm using the word person because I don't want to call them children. They're just another individual, as simple as that. Obviously, they will have their own perspective and I'll have my own perspective, but mine is not superior just because I happen to be 40 years older than them. So that's the whole idea. I don't know if that made sense, but that's how we in general look at the working part, right?
Yeah,
We're all
makes
working
sense.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, more people, more thoughts, more questions, more conversations, more discussion. It's an open discussion. Anybody can throw in any thought.
Yeah, I had a quick one.
Sure, Vin.
So, yeah, like all throughout my journey in life, I think the time when I actually learned a lot was when I was asked to do something that I really did not like. That is what brought in like discipline. That is where the grind is. Like, for example, if you want to get up and exercise and be healthy, you don't want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, especially when it's like winter and 0 degrees Celsius. But what actually makes you a stronger individual is, even though you don't like it, you force yourself to get up there and go do it. And that's what brings in discipline and that perseverance in a person. And when we introduce this open learning, right, where we say like, okay, you don't like math, don't do math. Um, does that mean the children are going to be like a slightly less disciplined and not being introduced to that grind one is supposed to get used to? How do we cope with that?
Okay, let me answer your question with another question, right? If you're okay with that. Okay, irrespective of whether you learn things which you did not like, even the things that you liked, were they easy? Didn't they require a lot of discipline and effort? I mean, we may not call it discipline, we may call it joy, but that to me is discipline, a better discipline, where I can do things with joy. But doesn't it require a dancer who dances for, let's say, 8 hours, or you said your son can do art for a whole day, requires a huge amount of concentration, discipline, whatever I don't want to get into all the adjectives, but you know the adjectives.
Yeah.
So to me, it doesn't matter whether, I would say I would rather do joyous discipline, in the sense, in the area and the field which I see value, I see connect with. Yeah. Rather than thinking that, okay, the discipline has to become when somebody else forces it. When something else forces me to do it, and that is what is discipline. Even for example of exercise that you brought in, if I start feeling that my body needs to be, let's say, fit, in whichever way I find that fit is, and whichever exercise I choose to, then the kind of joy I have out of that exercise is very different from when somebody is just pushing me and I'm doing it with a lot of grudge, and okay, somehow I'm finishing it. So yeah, I mean, if somebody thrives by doing things which they don't like, I have no problem. Please go ahead and do things which you don't like. Why will I stop? But I like doing things, very frankly, things which I like doing right from my childhood till now. I don't even rate myself on discipline, because I think that's an irrelevant thing. When I'm connected to myself and what I like doing, to me, that is the discipline I need to be in. Not the behavior discipline, but the professional, or you can say working discipline, right? But yeah, that's each
That is
one's
the
take. That
discipline I
was
was
just
looking
my
for.
thought, yeah.
Yeah.
But more people can respond.
I think Briji
Uh,
wanted to say something.
Yeah, Preeti wants to share, I think.
Yeah, go on, Briji.
Oh, there are many more people. You can, Money, you can also engage. Partha, we had an initial introduction, so I'm just pulling in people who have joined.
Hey, Ratnesh,
little
Preeti
later.
wait कर रही है.
Yeah. And Ashish, I'm just inviting, yeah, just being a good host, yeah. Let me get some brownie points there. Yeah, Preeti, go ahead.
to share
Preeti, voice
The person
breaking.
would be like,
Preeti,
Kala
video
Ghoda
ban
happening.
kar lo.
yeah.
Okay, switch off video, Preeti.
uh, okay, so my network might be bad at this place. So basically, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, we
Just
can hear you
sharing
clearly.
by your example only. So our daughter, she's now 2.5 years. Since 2.5 years, she's been practicing Malcolm in fitness, and last whole 1 year, she's gone for her Malcolm in morning and evening both, and she practices for 5-6 hours a day. And she gets up early in the morning without our any disciplinary action. She takes her own action in terms of discipline, and it is a choice action that she takes. She gets up on her own, she gets ready, she takes an auto and goes to her place and comes back by herself. So it all comes by her initiative and her want to do it, her joy to do it. There is nothing like we have to tell her to do it and force and make her get up in the morning every day. Unlike how in different other fields, like in a different other this thing, we ask children to get up in the morning. Hey, get up! It's already this time and whatever. So even she is not well or whatever, she will get up and go. So that's the discipline that we can talk about. If you are happy about it and if you are wanting to do it, like what Ratnesh was saying, then you'll do it by yourself.
True, true.
I had something to share. I mean, like things after these two discussions, I'm getting the clarity because I wanted to be an eye doctor. I was very specific about that I want to be an eye specialist since my childhood. And my father, I looked up to him. He's an eye specialist too. So I said that do we really have to do the 10th standard, 12th standard and get into the medical university? Can't I be the eye doctor? I did try researching that out. That was never the option available. So I went to the medical school. I even told my father, look, I already know I want to be an eye doctor. Why do I need to study the other things? Let me read the eye thing only first. And, let that be the only thing. I went to the medical school. The medical school thing, the other subjects weren't interesting at all. At all. I mean, like I hated biochemistry. I hated physiology. But later on, I realized, wait, I was heading to a place, but that journey involved all this. Certainly it may not be that great. I mean, like I did enjoy after I became an eye specialist. Now I'm a retina surgeon, and with all those things, it feels pleasant when I have got there. But I would say that the journey wasn't a roller coaster ride. It wasn't amazing. It was difficult, but of course, like Ratnesh said, that the curriculum or maybe the thing involves that, the mandatory thing. And this is what makes me question open learning, because it is your aptitude or maybe whatever you are driven towards. But there are our education system demands us to be learning the other subjects too, those unnecessary, filling the containers with the unnecessary information and all. But we are bound by that. Don't you think we are all uh, because I don't think if tomorrow my daughter comes up and she says that I want to be an IAS officer. Obviously, if she wants to be an IAS officer, she would have to do those humanities, take those subjects, that coaching to do IAS. But she cannot become an IAS officer directly. She will have to go through that journey. That journey may not be for all of us. Maybe our prime minister also. The journey for him getting there also wasn't very pleasant. So, with the question, this I'm trying to learn more about open learning. Like this girl who's constructing or discovering constructing mud houses, or somebody who's interested. What scope does it? You must have. I want to know out of your experience. Yeah, as worried parents about our kids' future, we are at the end of the day. It shouldn't be a mistake that we are making. जैसे वही a lot of people say that our parents hit us, we were happy about that. Okay, now this different concept of gentle parenting does not agree, and I also agree with the concept of gentle parenting, that it works for out of 10 kids, it would work for 2 kids. Yeah, hitting got them smarter, or whatever, that they thanked their parents that they got beaten up. But there were other 8 who got affected really badly because of that hitting. So I don't know. I'm really confused. I'm trying to find out and learn more. That is what it's wonderful to hear people's perspectives. It's only ringing bells within. But yes, to take the plunge is a very difficult decision, and I really respect those parents who've taken the
I think
decision.
Sumedha, let's get some people to share their thoughts, because I think we have a good idea of what's on your mind. So
Yeah.
let's get more folks to share their thoughts, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, so my name is Mishti. I'm 11 years old. So I had a very kind of a strong opinion on this. So, I mean, you were saying that when when uh, when I choose it, maybe when we go ahead, then my kids will hate me for choosing. They'll go, why did my mom choose this for me? I wanted to go to regular school. So that's the thing. You are not choosing it for your kids. The kids are choosing it for themselves. If they want to stop going to school because they think it doesn't help them in anyhow, and they don't want to, obviously if they want to do medical something, if they want to do IS something, they'll have to go to school because that's the way to do it. But if I want to become a dancer, I don't need to go to school. I don't need a degree. I don't need all of that to be a dancer. I just need to be a good dancer. I just need to be good at that. So if you're also saying that it's what if my kids hate me for that choice, then you have to let them choose that do I want to go to school or not. Because I was the one who told my mom when it became COVID and when it was online. Then I realized that the school is not why I go to school. Like the actual subjects and all of that, it's very stupid. I only go to school, or at least from my perspective, and I only go to school because my friends go there. We can chat in the bus, we can eat lunch together, we can tease each other, I can bully people. That's why I go to school. So that way you can just, I mean, in Aarohi also I can bully people. In Aarohi also I can chat with people. We have a bus library in campus. We can sit there. Why you go to school? What's your intent? If you want to be a doctor, you have to go to school. There's no rounding that. Mathematician, you have to go to school. You have to do maths that way.
Yeah,
More
absolutely.
views, please. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. But accounting kids for making them responsible for their action, I did try that out also. And my daughter is too small to make her responsible for her action. It kind of worked also because
Oh,
she really.
Sumedha, I'm small. I'm 55, and I think still I'm learning how to take responsibility of myself and the world around. I don't think it's a thing. It's a life. It takes a
Absolutely.
lifetime to uncover what is this responsibility of me and myself and my family and world and people and everything.
True, every day is learning. I accept absolutely. Yeah. Every day is learning. Every day, every moment. And you've actually rung a lot of bells within open. It's wonderful to get everybody's perspective. I would be grateful if somebody else also has any inputs to
Sure,
give.
sure. Please, inviting others if you want to respond to what Sumedha has raised.
Yeah, Partha Banerjee here. I have a signal problem, so can't be on video. Okay.
Yeah, the
My
audio is
own
also a
view
little low,
is
Partha. Can you
that
speak up or bring the mic closer to your mouth? That video not is
yeah,
no problem. Yeah.
yeah. Can you hear me now? Is
Yeah.
better?
Yeah.
Okay. So see, if you want to become a dancer or a painter, you don't have to go to a formal school. But if you want to become a teacher of the same subject in an university, that's where you have to fetch out your degrees. Now, these degrees may be through a proper formal level college or maybe an informal, I don't know. But the point is that in our system, you are not really recognized till you have those pieces of paper. And that has really taken the situation like this, that 1/3 or 40% of our lawyers in India have fake degrees. So that is why people go to the college and they earn a degree anyway. I mean, anyway, Okay.
Yeah.
But this is what is India. It's changing. But before it changes, we have to struggle a lot. Number one. Number two, many decades back, maybe a century or 2 centuries back, we had a famous poet who was born called Tagore, who is a Nobel laureate. Now, he never went to a formal school. He was a very, very high profile family. They used to have what is called home tuition or homeschooling or home tutoring. Okay, that is what gave him the wings to fly. I think someone was talking about the wings to fly. I am very sure that if you can have the right input, you will have a better output than you have in an average school. That's my feeling. And I have seen that if people get right education outside the school, that impacts them very, very much. And it's in a positive way. Thank you.
Thank you. More people, if anybody wants to share. Yeah, so Richi, you want to share?
I was thinking I should let you talk or should I talk? You choose.
You talk, you talk.
Okay. So, Sumedha, the couple of things. If we are, and you answered your question by the way, because you already shared your thoughts or your experiences, your observations about gentle parenting and how it might work for, how non-gentle parenting or conventional parenting worked for 2 out of 10, but there were 8 people who lived with scars or are living with scars. So in some sense, you have already answered your question. So first thing is that. So I feel you're looking for confidence to know from others' journeys rather than an
Absolutely.
answer for that question. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the I think
Okay. Let's leave
when
it at that. Let's leave it at that. So the best way
I
to
agree.
do that is to go through the archive of the playlist on YouTube and
Okay.
just randomly browse through, take 5 minutes or 10 minute bits from the 160 plus recordings we have there, and you'll get a plethora of examples of how people go about open learning, what they do, what are their concerns, how do they address them, and a bunch of that. So that's point number one. The second thing is, what is our responsibility as parents? It goes back to Risha's question earlier, right? What is our responsibility as parents? As are we responsible for everything that my child does or becomes or does not become? Then 100% I can assure you, then you will fail, because your child can never live up to your expectations or your parents, any the child's grandparents' expectations, right? And very likely the child will not live up to their own expectations. And the whole idea of learning is to know how to deal with either exceeding expectations or not being able to meet expectations, if you ask me, right? So what is our role then as a co-traveler? And I go back to what I was sharing when I was answering Risha's question, that how do I deal with exceeding expectations or not being able to meet expectations? Is that a learning that I can provide to my child as a co-traveler? And in being that learner in front of my co-traveler, I'm actually learning things myself, right? So in some sense, the joy that you found in your eye surgery, being an eye surgeon and specializing on some things, or maybe that, like, maybe you wanted to be a painter or something when you were a small child. I mean, after something like 2 years, I recently held a paintbrush. And I was like, oh my God, it's been so long since I held a paintbrush. I just got caught up with other things and I couldn't do any painting. Not that I'm such a good painter or anything, but even the joy of being able to see that, oh, you can actually trace, I can do curves without, without any aid, and I can do a free flow circle and freehand draw of a circle. I mean, that was so joyous for me. So what I'm trying to share here is that if we feel that meeting expectations is the objective of the parent child relationship, need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I also want to quickly add that the idea that there has to be only these whatever X number of subjects for me to study. See, when you are studying eye part of the body and you have to study the rest of the body, I think that's a different thing. That's you're talking about one single thing in which you are working with. It's like I just can't learn about the brakes of the car. I have to also know about the rest of the car. But when I look at in terms of just learning, when you look at let's say a set of subjects or a curriculum and say, oh, why aren't mathematics is mandatory? I completely disagree with that. Mathematics is completely optional for most of us. Meaning, see, anyway, addition subtraction is not mathematics. That anyway all of us know, even a villager knows. But let's say the higher maths, which we go from after the third standard, all those fractions and all those decimals and all those complicated things, is actually completely optional. We don't use it. Even if we use it, we reach out for a calculator in today's world or an app or something. We don't even, what I'm trying to say is that there are millions of things to learn. So million subjects, and wouldn't I allow the child to build his or her own, let's call it curriculum or what we call as explorations? Why, or even exposures. And even at this age, I'm getting exposed to new things. I'm exploring. So it's not like I'm anytime confined with one vocation or one thing. Like even if you are an eye doctor, you may, when you got your own child, now that's a little totally different journey. Parenting itself is one learning, right? The child comes into our hands, we are like totally lost. What do I do with this child in that sense? It's a completely different journey. So that's the beauty of life. The life itself will bring you the easy and the difficult, as Vin was talking about, or the variety. It need not be boxed into some subjects which has to be done at a certain age, in a certain way, in a certain form. If somebody likes it that way, please go to school. There's no problem with schools. But if somebody does not like it, wants to do what one wants to do, and then in the whole process do 100 other things, amazing, go ahead and do it that way. So there is no contradictions here, there is no difficulty here. All right, nobody can be only in the silo of that I will only do painting. The painter has to sell it also. My daughter, when she started her business, the business was about sustainability, but she has to learn a whole lot of things: accounting, marketing, social media, so on and so forth. So many things which she found difficult. It's not that they were easy for her. And she still finds some of them difficult. Accounting, for example, she keeps crying, oh, they abhi accounting karna hai. But that's okay. She knows it has to be done. Right? So that's the beauty of life. You can't escape the other things that come as a bundle, either because what you are doing requires it, or maybe it's just that you start liking for them in some small form or the other, like Dviji picked up the brush now. So yeah. Okay, maybe we can switch the direction of the conversations into some other topic. I am inviting others to bring in more thoughts, more questions. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll keep on talking about one topic only.
Yeah. 1 second. So there's a very recent.
Go ahead, Mishti.
It's me only. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mishti. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a recent movie that came out in 2023. It's called Elemental. So maybe not very directly, but in a lot of ways, it gives a lot of like expectations and how to control your anger or things like that. And it's a very nice movie. It's an animated movie, so anybody who can watch it, please watch it. And I think it's just indirectly a very good kind of answer to these things. Yeah.
Okay, homework for weekend, Mishti. Thank you. We can watch that movie over the weekend. That's a good tip. Super. More thoughts, more questions, more directions. Anything that you would like to cover?
Yeah,
Yes,
good
Mani.
evening. I have a very simple question. For example, I used to wake up very early in the morning around 5:30, 6 o'clock. So whenever I see a sunrise, I really feel the way the sun the color changes. It actually brings a lot of happiness in me. Now the thing is, the once you experience happiness, then you feel slowly tempted to tell to the few persons in your house, like your wife or children or whatever. So my question is like, so how do we go about this? Like, is it okay to influence them by sharing that you see this experience is something you may also look into it, or this may bring joy for you, or this you start doing? No, like like Buddha. No, once you become happiness, no, you want to share something. So where do we stop it, or where do we start it?
Yeah, I think Mishti already answered your question, isn't it? She shared. No, it's up to us whether we want to watch it or not. Whether it's elemental
Okay,
or whether it's your sunrise or whatever it is, or whether it is winds workout at 0 degrees.
so as a parent, a lot of times we are tempted that we have to do this, we have to do this. So this is where like is there any is it where do we get a more clarity on this?
Very simple. Please go to an ice cream parlor. Please take me also. You will get all the clarity. Which ice cream to eat is always a question, right? Do you want to go to your old favorite, which you have been having every time, or do you want to try something new? It's the same thing. If the child wants to do what he likes doing, he can go ahead. If the child wants to try your taste flavor today, the child can go ahead. And so on and so forth, not just for the child, for each one of us.
Okay, so it's always we can ask and then leave it to them.
I guess that's what we do at an ice cream parlor, no?
Yeah,
We
right.
don't force anybody to eat the ice cream we like, no?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So please take me to ice cream parlor the next time you're around, Mani, and we'll discover this.
Yeah, right.
Nah,
And the interesting part in an ice cream parlor is that even though I might have taken another ice cream, you may just want to take a little bite of it. And I'll say, yeah, get a spoon, you can taste this, you can try this. So that's the whole idea. That's where the exposure comes in, you know. We all,
Yeah.
when children see that, that's the beauty of community. I can share that because I've been lucky to be around so many children, so many parents, so many grandparents, not just mine, everybody's. So the idea is that so many people doing so many things. Look at the rub-off of eating. We get excitements in dozens here because there's so many people doing so many things. And I say, wow, I may sample it a little bit. I may not treat myself to it, but at least to sample it or just observe it from a distance, saying, wow, something like this can also be done, or something like that can also be done. Not that I've ventured into all the fields or got influenced about everything.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
And that's why I keep
And
telling
yeah,
people you should go to ice cream parlors
okay.
often.
yeah, and I think just to put one more thing in a little more direct way, I think when we say open learning and self-directed learning, we are not saying we don't share what we are learning, right? So the idea is to share what you're learning, is to share your joy. not just your joy, your frustrations, your turbulations, your tribulations, everything that you feel comfortable sharing. Because when we share is when we really get to know how, we build relationships. It's not just about knowing something, it's also about relating to that person, right? And one of the offshoots, and I don't want to get into this, but I think I do want to put this in here, is that one of the ways in which relationships between generations are weakening is because of the lack of common grounds of sharing, right? And the more we think about and read about these factors, you will realize that, oh yeah, how many times did I sit with my father and discuss something? And we will recognize that I'll relate to my father better on things that I discussed with him and not as much on things we didn't discuss, right? So just trying to put it out that it's not just about learning and schooling here. We're talking about life in some sense. So yeah, I don't want the conversation to go in that direction, but just want to put it out there that it's not just about learning and schooling that we are talking.
There is a question here. So my question is, so the kids actually have been learning in our home environment, like what the fathers do, what the mothers do, like that. They have learned so far here, and if they go to a space where their learning is going to be in open and all these things, like academic, they have done. At least my son is now completed 8th. Okay, so now if he is not interested in the schools, and if he's going to the new environment and new things are going to get learned, because he wanted to be self-sustained. That is my goal, right? So that is all of our goal. So in that case, what is that open community will provide in that environment, which we cannot provide in home environment from the parents?
I just loved the way the question evolved.
Yeah. I was
Thank you,
about to say that.
Kanika. It was a lovely question.
Yeah, actually, it came from the, like, so much of thoughts went into it, like, because we are very
So Kanika, just
controlling parent, and not controlling, very what we'll help the child in so many places, so we don't want to leave from our hand actually. So how we are going to live open community means how they will be. That
Okay.
is the one
So-
thing which we were
Yeah.
looking
So
for.
before I
Yeah.
answer that
Yeah.
question, or before anybody answers that question, I want to clarify one thing, which I think I shared at the beginning, is that at least in our community, in Aarohi community, the child alone is not welcome. Very clear. It has to be the family which gets involved at any age. It cannot just be the child alone. It is not an outsourcing at all. It is the family saying, let's do this together, which means you are not away from the child, though physically the child could be anywhere. Even as your child grows, the child may do work somewhere else, or get married in some other country, or get a job in some other country. So children being away, or even spouses or other family members being away, doesn't mean that we are not the family. So when you join the community, the whole family joins the community. In fact, Kanika, you will have to adopt many more children, including me and Dviji and Preeti and all. We are all children here, learners here, and we will need a lot of things from you, and we will learn a lot of things from you, and you will learn a lot of things from, hopefully, us and many others. So it's just an expansion of the circle. That's all. More people to support us, more people to kick us, more people to tickle us, stimulate us, and more people to give us more exposures. It's like from a pool, we are going into a bigger pond or whatever. And we are no more clinging to the rock, as Alan Watts says. Do you want to cling to a rock, or do you want to learn how to swim? Then you have to leave the rock. In that sense, the rock will still there. The rock is stable. The rock is solid. The rock is there. You know, when you are swimming, I can go back to the rock at any time. But would I rather be with the rock, clinging to the rock, or would like to swim? So that's not my analogy. That's Alan Watts, meaning if you want to hear him more, please Google for him, YouTube on it. But I, yeah, that's sorry. So that clarification, yeah, before somebody else, that gives a direct response that it's the family who becomes part of the game. Now, what are the benefits of that? Let others share. Yeah,
I like to add something.
please.
When you come across open learning for the first time, you view it as an educational choice, right? And then once you start getting it into it, and when you start it, it more comes across as a lifestyle choice for the whole family. And then you will evolve over a period of time. So what you understand in the beginning before you start, and what you understand after 2-3 years of doing it, will be very different, because you, you learn better. How to put it, uh, so I understand the dilemma right now. We were also in that phase. In fact, before I came to this open meetup that we are doing right now, I was in two minds, how we are doing, because we don't have any reference, right? But community is there as something to fall back upon. If you are confused, you can reach out to people. If you're going through a tough experience, you can reach out to people. So community is there for you to go and discuss few things.
Yeah, let me just take this opportunity to also add. So just as an example, not all, but some parents meet of Aarohi community meet on a regular basis. They meet every week, and they only decide what the theme they want to, and they have chit chats, book readings, anecdotes, lot of laughter, a lot of pushing, pulling, and so on. Lot of camaraderie together. Until now, it was an internal kind of community thingy, as in only the community families were meeting. But in fact, from this week onwards, we are opening it. These parents said, hey, why can't other parents who don't want to do exactly open learning as a family, but who still want a company of more parents to meet every week and kind of hobnob and share ideas and so on at a more parent level, not about open learning, but more as a parenting thing. So the parents have decided that they will, meaning it's open now. So I'll share the link. If you want, you can join that also, just as a glimpse, or rather not even as a glimpse, just as being part of the community as a parent, not even the child. So only the parent joining, not the child joining. Yeah, just wanted to share that, since it's something that we are just initiated. Yeah.
Hello, Yogesh here.
Yeah, Yogesh.
I don't know how my question is it, but I thought to ask. So the question is, like a father, I believe for every mother and father always have a temptation and dream for their kids, because considering the market trends right now, what is happening around them, considering their experience. So we decide at a very early stage. Even I have decided, even I want my son to become ABCD. I have 3, 4, 5 options in my mind. And even I don't know after 10 years whether that option really has a value in the future or not, will have or not, because that is in not my hand. So does it a good way to having a, because as a father, I always wanted to make something good for my son. But even I'm worried in other side that is it really will be a good for him or not. In that case, most of the time, the traditional education system we used to follow, because we believe on the rewards versus the investment, that is the well calculated and presented in the market, that having done this, so that then your son can become the IIT and your son can become the IIM, then somebody can become a cricketer. So the trends gets followed, because that is getting in front of your eyes day in day out doing this, your son can become this. So it always give a security to go with that trend, because there is always a kind of a justification or proofs the market or people is giving to us, whether neighbors or the social media or whoever it is. So taking the son to the open schooling environment, so we believe that they will find out their interests, okay, and they will love to do something. And definitely tomorrow, if my son comes to me and say, Papa, I want to become a carpenter, for example, and as a father, I know that what does he has a scope, the carpenter has a scope in the market, considering the father is a poor, he would not have money to invest for his business, as business what I can upscaling, and then he has the interest into that. So does it mean that after a 10 years that as a father didn't give him a right choice, though he likes to become a carpenter, but that will may not have that much earning potential. So I am just thinking about the potential in terms of the numbers only, that it does following the interest is a good, or following the trend where the security can be attended in terms of the money and the luxury of the life. Hope you got my question. So I tried to make it a big, small, but
That's
somehow
fine.
it
That's
went.
fine, Yogesh. I think we got the question.
Yeah.
And anybody wants to share their thoughts? I think I'm talking too much in this session today. I mean, I don't. If anyone else would like to share their thoughts, I would welcome that.
Yeah, very quick thing
Please,
from me
Ben.
on that. As a child, I always wanted to be an artist. And my parents always used to say that, come on, being an artist, you're not gonna really earn much. There's no point why are you spending all this time doing these things. And they always forced me to get formal education. And I did end up getting a formal Bachelor of Engineering degree. But as a software engineer, I worked in the industry for literally just 10 working days. And the Monday of the third week of my job, I said, like, this is not for me. And I just quit. And from that day, I started pursuing whatever my childhood dream was. And I became a digital artist. I turned out to be a graphics designer, then a user interface designer. And now I'm somebody called as a user experience designer. And whatever I do for my profession has nothing to do with the degree that I earned for 4 years. And yet I think I'm doing all right. I have a really good profession, have decent salary. I'm self-employed now. I don't work for any company. I'm a consultant. So as I think, like as Steve Jobs said, right, you can never connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. So as much as skills that you can earn, as much as joy you can get from learning those skills, and they will all add up in the future for sure. So I think, like, if somebody is a carpenter, I think they can make like really good money in today's world being a carpenter. But I get the gist of the question that you're asking, though, and it's also my question, to be honest. Is, let's say, in the same analogy, if somebody wanted to be a footballer and all they ever did was play football, but if you actually look at the statistics, out of 100 kids who wants to be footballers, maybe one of them gets to do it, but the rest of them are not going to have that profession. And then what are the rest of the options for them? That would be a question. But if somebody wanted to just learn carpentry, I think you should definitely let them learn carpentry.
So I'm not directly, I'm not trying to answer this question, just wanting to bring out something which my son shared with me about a year and a half back. At that time, he was playing football, but that was not connected to football. What he asked me one plain day that, how many sources of income you have? And I said, my goodness, what kind of a question is this? I said, one, meaning that's my only, this is the thing that I do. He said, you're too outdated, man. I mean, he didn't say it that way. he said, in life, one should have 2, 3 sources of income. That makes sense. You should hedge your income sources also. I said, wow, I never thought of it. Maybe this is the old generation thing. The new generation is already thinking of multiple sources of income. They're even thinking of what is called as passive income, as in you create a value and then the value keeps paying you, like a YouTube channel is one quick example, and so on and so forth. What I'm trying to say is that if we are going to think of that, is this profession going to earn, then we haven't really connected with the world of possibilities and nor with the possibilities inside the child. As you said, you evolved into whatever, the graphic designer and so on and so forth, and now the UX designer and so on. Amazing. But I'm saying we doesn't need to evolve into anything also. We can evolve into, look at Dwiji, I think he addressed some 163 things. I don't even know what he does. But he does 163 things, and I think he's good. And there can be somebody who could just be doing one thing, or so on. So I think we need to open up our minds first and say, are we going to define it this way and live out of our thinking, or we want the children to live out of their thinking, their way of looking at world? So yes, we may be concerned. Concerns are good. Anxiety is good. That is always helpful to question, to reflect, to give feedback, and so on and so forth. But I don't know whether we want to just say that, oh, this is good, because this is only good today. The world is so rapidly changing. What is good tomorrow? I have no idea. Yeah, sorry.
A couple of things that I want to add to this in a slightly different dimension, which you touched on, Yogesh. One is what you do with your dreams is what matters, not what you dream. I don't know who said it, but somebody has said it, I'm pretty sure. Right? So it's more important that you recognize that you have a dream. So pursue your dream. But the dream is about you. It's not about your child. Because your child will also have a dream. If not one, I mean, surely more than one, but very likely more than one. So I would say that one is that, what do you do with your dream? Do you force your child to do something that he or she may not want to do? Because you have a dream and you want to pursue the dream? I mean, that's your personal choice. And, it kind of affects your relationship with your child. But that's something that you can decide on, one. And the second thing is that when we look at people who are pursuing what they want to do versus people who are, quote unquote, forced to fall into a certain track, right? Now, who among these is better equipped to pursue their dream? Somebody who has to pick up their ideas, think, okay, what do I do now? And then plan how to do that. And then actually do that. And then stand back and say, okay, I did this thing, now how did it go? Right? So an open learner, a self-directed learner, that's what we say. That's the standard. I mean, not even standard. It's the thumb rule that we follow when we are pursuing a learning journey, right? We plan, we do, and we reflect. And then we repeat the cycle. Now, somebody who does that, how well equipped is that person to pursue their dreams versus somebody who is given a curriculum and said, do these problems 1 to 10, and then you are done for the day, right? I mean, I remember when I was, what was it, about 15 years old, and I just took fancy to this one equation, and then it was wrongly printed in the book, but that triggered me to work through the night when I had my homework pending and all that. And the next day I went and showed it to my maths teacher, what I had done. And that fellow was like, what is this? I can't even understand a lot of these things. Why don't you take it to this senior teacher who might have some ideas on this? And that guy looked at it and said, you probably spent a whole night, but this is because there is a misprint in this problem. and that literally, I mean, like Vin was sharing, or maybe Ratnesh, you were sharing, only when you look back can you connect the dots. I think Vin was sharing this, yeah. So when I look back, I trace the origin of my interest in maths to that one night when I just decided I want to crack this problem. Right? So, and what do I do now? Just because Ratnesh has asked so many, posed so many such questions, I actually work on machines and agriculture and technology.
And many other things.
And among many other things. And I actually question the need to learn Pythagoras theorem. For somebody who enjoyed maths, and even now I love maths. But when it comes to certain things in which we make children do something because we feel it is required, right? And the world is so different. Anyway, Ratnesh has already talked about it.
Thank you. Really, really good insight.
Excuse me, I have a problem. I have a question in my mind. Hello?
Krishlani, we stop at 6:30, so there's just 2 minutes. So make it short, and you may not get all the answers, but then we are there every Saturday. So we can carry this question on to the next Saturday or whenever you are able to join in. Just keeping in mind, since we do it every Saturday the whole year, we are a little particular about our timing. So we do stop at 6:30. Yeah, you can still throw in the question.
Okay, so now like I live in a small apartment and I feel like the resources I have to do open learning is very limited. And like if I want to open learning with my kids who are like 7 and 4 years old, I have to depend a lot on the digital devices. So I'm thinking about how you can balance your small apartment in an urban city where there are less trees and only one library which is very far away and there's no much places to travel. I mean, to oversee, no mountains, buildings. So I want to get an idea about how other parents who are stuck in a similar environment to me are carrying out open learning successfully.
Okay, so we can, as I said, we would need to take this question next time in detail. But I do want to very quickly give an example of Mishti, who was there in this call of Preeti's daughter, who is 11 years. Mishti is 11 years in Mumbai. So what she did was she lives in Mumbai, apartments and so on. So what she did was about a year back, she did an internship with the vegetable seller down on the road. So she would sit with her and sell vegetables with her whole day for almost a month, or maybe a little more than a month. She did that. So I think the opportunities are all out there, dear. There is no dearth of opportunities in any place whatsoever. Yeah. Let's just open up our minds and open up everything that's around us. There are people, there are things, there are resources, there are machineries, there is science, there is maths, there is history, geography, human relationship, emotions, you name it, everything is there, including mountains. So what I'm saying is, we can obviously talk more, share more of our experiences, but I think we will close with that thought. So just think about it. Everything is out there. Everything doesn't need to be in your house, right? You don't bring a beach inside your house. You go to a beach to enjoy the sea. Yeah, in the same way, you can go out and enjoy the vegetable seller and her business, and so on and so forth. So let's get inspired by Mishti and think more. And we will be there. And as Dwiji was saying, you can look at the older recordings as well as you can keep coming. We are there every Saturday, 5 to 6:30. So thank you, everybody. And we'll stay connected and keep interacting. Thank you. The recordings are all there. I've shared the link of the playlist. I'll not close the session immediately. If you want to copy any of the links from the chat, you can copy that. And or drop a WhatsApp message to us and we'll respond. So thank you for now and bye-bye for now, sorry. And thank you and bye-bye for now. And
Thank you.
we'll meet
Good
again.
time.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.